let us look at Module 9. And I want you to go to the tutorial data sets. And I want you to open the investments workbook. Okay, and we are working with an owner of a small business who wants to invest in her company. So this module is all about financial analysis. And we did a little bit of this earlier when we talked about functions. But we're going to use things like, and I know all of you have taken Finance 202, or most of you have taken Finance 202, talking about future value, present value, rate, internal rate of return, all those good things. So we are going to go to the investment tab, and in cell A5 we're going to enter monthly payment. And we're going to put PMT on here. Okay, in cell B5, we want to put this in as a negative 100,000. Which is the amount of our initial investment. We put it as negative because it's a cash outflow from the company. In cell C5, what we want to get to be able to invest in our company to build this new plant is 300,000. So enter 300,000 in C5. In cell D5, I want you to enter our rate, which we're getting at 5.4% for the investment rate, which is pretty good. In cell E5, enter 12. And then you guys recall what we had to do when we take a rate and it's over like months, whatever it might be, we have to divide that rate by the number of months. So for rate per month, I'm going to take D5 and divide it by E5. Okay, for 18 months is how many times I'm going to transfer money into this account. And 18 months, I want, for years, I'm going to take this number of periods, which is G5, and divide it by the months in the year, which is E5. So it's 1.5 years. Okay, so what we're going to use here is the payment function. And the payment function will allow us to determine how much I need to put in this account every month for the next 18 months. When I'm starting with 100,000 to end up with 300,000, if the account is paying 5.4%. Okay, 5.4%. So the first thing I enter is the rate. Okay, and this would be the rate over, the compounding period, so it would be F5. Okay, the 5.4 divided by 12. The number of periods is the number of periods that I'm investing money in, which is G5. the investment or the present value is B5. And what I want to get to is C5. I hit enter, and I get $10,242.15. What that represents is the amount of money that, and see it's negative because it's an outflow for my company. That's the amount of I must invest every month for 18 months at 5.4% interest if I start out with 100,000 to get to 300,000. Okay, so that tells Diane how much she needs to pay to start out with 100,000 to get to 500,000. Okay. Let's do this a little bit different. Let's use a different function here. So in cell A6, I'm going to put in investment goal. And I'm going to put in FV, because that's the formula I'm going to use in this case. So let's just copy this down. And then we'll also copy this down because it's going to be the same. Okay, and let's say in this case, I'm not trying to calculate how much I need to invest to get to 300,000. Maybe Diane knows that all she can sock away each month is 7,500. So let's put that in here, negative 7,500. And hit enter. Go ahead, Colin.
Do you want the months to change from 18 to 19?
No, I did not. Thank you. I guess it filtered as a series, right? Okay, so in this case, we're going to use equal future value, and we're going to figure out what we'll have at the end if we invest 7,500. We know it's going to be less than 300,000, but how much less than that is it going to be? So it wants the rate, which once again is an F6. It wants the number of periods, which is in G6. It wants the present value, or the payment, I'm sorry, which is an I6. And it wants the present value, which is in B6. I hit enter. Okay, and it tells me that if I start off with 100,000, I invest 7,500 every month for 18 months at a rate of 5.4%. I'll end up with 248,000 at the end. So we're just looking at various scenarios here, okay, and just using different functions to get there. Let's say we are concerned about how long it's going to take me to invest. Okay, so let's go down a line, and in A7 I'm going to put months, and in this case I'm going to use the NPER, which is the number of periods formula. Let's copy B5 through F5 down to B7 through F7. So I want to get to 300,000. And I'm going to invest Whoops. Oops, I just want to leave that formula. I don't want to put 1.5 in there. Okay. So in this case, it's the same thing, but I'm asking a different question. This time I'm saying, if I start out with 100,000, I want to end up with 300,000. I'm investing every month at 5.4% interest. I'm putting away 7,500. How long until I get to my investment goal of $300,000? And that's what the N per number of periods formula is. Okay, so the rate, once again, is going to be F7. The payment is I7. The present value is B7. And the future value that I'm trying to get to is C7. And what this is telling me is the number of periods that I need to invest 7,500 at every month is basically almost 2 years. Okay, 23.886 payments or 1.9905 years. Okay, so it's all working off the same premise. Let's say she wants to look at things a little bit differently. And in this case, let's not say we want to start out with 100,000. We want to figure out how much do we need to start out with if we want to get to 300,000 at 18 months, investing 7,500. So how much is my initial investment need to be? So in cell C8, enter initial investment. Copy C6 through H6 down to C8 through H8 and 7,500 down. So in this case, the variable, the thing that I'm changing, is going to be the present value. Like, how much do I put in at the beginning? If I want to get to 300,000 at the end, investing 7,500 a month for 18 months. Okay, how much do I need to put in here? So this formula is equal PV, or the present value. And this one I'm going to give it the rate, which is F8. The number of periods, which is G8. The payment amount, which is 7,500 or I8. And the future value I want to get to, which in this case is C8. I hit enter. And it tells me if I want to get to 300,000 by stocking away 7,500 a month for 18 months, I better start out with $174,000. Okay, so this case, present value is the unknown. Okay, the last one, the last thing that we're going to look at is the rate. So let's go to A9, and let's say rate per month. And it's not the overall rate, it's the rate per month, and I'm going to type in rate. And I want to leave these two things alone, so I want to start out with 100,000. I want to get to 300,000. put in 12 in E9. And then copy G8 through I8 to G9 through I9. Okay, so this time the unknown is the rate. Now we're going to have to get to the annual rate by multiplying whatever we get here by 12, but let's not do that yet. So the function for that unknown rate is equal, crazily enough, rate. Okay, so I'm going to give it the number of periods, which is G9, so over 18 months. I need to give it the payment, which is I9, that's the $7,500. I need to give it the present value, how much I'm investing initially, which is B9. I need to give it the future value, which is how much I want at the end, and I get C9. I hit enter, and it tells me 1.91. But that's every month. So how do I get the annual rate? What would I do to get the annual rate? Multiply F9 times E9. And I need to get a 22.95%. So what I want you to see, this is looking at various scenarios for our investment plan. And really, there are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables involved in this, okay? And these are, we can solve for any of those variables using that name. For example, the first one, I want to know how much the payment has to be to get from 100,000 to 300,000 at a certain rate over a certain number of periods. The second one, I said, well, how about if I save this much over this time? What's the future value going to be when I start with 100,000? So that's FV, so that formula is FV. The third one, I said, well, how many periods do I need to save at with this rate for me to end up with 300,000? The fourth one, how much do I need to seed this from? So this is equal PV. What's the present value need to be? And then the last one, what does the rate need to be? Now, what kind of applications can we use this for? What kind of personal applications can we use this for? Buying a house. Okay, a mortgage. If you look at, in any kind of investment, like I do my retirement, and I do various scenarios. We'll talk about scenario managers later. But this rate can really change things, right? If you get a 3% rate or a 4% rate or a 5% rate. So what's really important about this, and I don't know if any of you guys taken personal finance, is understanding the time value of money associated with these things. Okay, so just wanted to go through that. Actually, how much time do I have left? 1 minute left, so 1 minute remaining, but I'm going to stop here. So I'm going to stop there. Save this, please. Let's save it as somewhere on your desktop or somewhere where you're going to find it. I'm going to call mine Investment Miko. And we're going to continue to work with Diane over the next couple classes.